So this was achieved just before 2021, and this was played on the PAL version on Nintendo Wii. And so I started this at like midnight or something. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just wanting to do one run really badly. So here we have Mid-Air Stadium, where we start off with a Kirby side because it's always been the fastest way of killing Mario there. And then the fastest way to get through cutscenes is to start a mash. Not like start a mash, but like the start button and A button together, mashing through the cutscenes. And then here is a big horde fight in where I will use specific moves in order to launch enemies into each other. I will use back air and forward smash, launching enemies into one another. Speeds the process up of more enemies spawning, and you'll see that from a bunch of locked fights throughout the run. Also, hammer is always good in horde fights, and that was just a ridiculously good horde fight. And then here we have a boss fight, one of many boss fights. We have Petey, and the fastest way of killing him is with 6 hammer hits in the right spot. Sadly, I suck and didn't get that, so I wasted around 2 seconds or something, and that was Mid-Air Stadium. I went for Zelda's Cage because Sheik is more useful than Peach. So that is why we always get the Zelda Cage. Now, Skyworld. Just completely all pit, and this is the first level that will showcase how broken gliding is in Brawl. Be using it throughout the entire run with Meta Knight and Pit. Right there, I up bead into a down air, into a cancel on the turquoise cube, because fast. And then here, I do a certain way of a fight that the fastest way to do it. Sadly, I got a big mushroom at a very bad time. If I got the big mushroom at the very end, that would actually save time, but I ran into it at a bad time. And then here's a enemy Greep that falls down, and then, like I said in the horde fight, or no, I didn't say yet, but that's an example of hitting the enemy towards the closest blast zone, which ends the locked fight. So on top of hitting enemies into one another, you also want to try and hit them into the closest blast zone. So here is an example of Meta Knights, or not Meta Knight, but Pit and I guess Meta Knight technically. And their broken glide. We are skipping a fight here that is at the very end of the level, because why the fuck not? I mean, we're able to do that. Skips weren't actually used until 2 months after I started running Subspace back in May of 2017. So that's very cool fun fact. I was like the first person to really implement skips. And then here we use Sheik for Sea of Clouds because Kirby and Peach aren't quick. And then do a little chain there to skip that ledge. Just get up the ledge faster. And then right here, sometimes it's RNG, I don't know what causes it, but that transformation can be really quick or really slow. I got a quick transformation right there, luckily. And then I go really fast in this section to avoid glunder hits. And then here is a very recent tech that was discovered by Dylan when he was doing his Brawl Intense tasks. A lot of the characters' back rolls are faster than their run animation, so I use it to my advantage there for Sheik, and that's the only time I ever really do it with anyone. Probably saves a little bit, but I haven't really tested too much. And then that ending to that room was just sloppy. There's going to be plenty of slop in this run. It's still not perfect, but a pretty damn good run overall, luckily. Don't know how I managed to play it when I was like probably half asleep. But yeah. And then here, down air, quick run off back air, destroys that portal. And then practically similar to that portal, down air, up smash. Got a big mushroom, which is pretty good. And then slop, obviously. Would have preferred to get mushrooms like towards the end of locked fights for obvious reasons. But that is good enough. No might went to hit me, so I couldn't get a damage boost. And then recently found out a couple months ago that an up smash right there instantly kills a creep rather than going for like a double fair or whatever. And then jungle. It's pretty much thought that Diddy and Donkey Kong are both kind of equal speed, but I've used Donkey Kong pretty much my entire time running this game, and he's pretty good. So right there, that first turquoise cube is basically a coin flip to spawn a poison mushroom or a big mushroom, and hitting it on the right like frame rule, you'll be able to get whatever one. I just risk it. I just do it early, like a quick double jump into a nair, and usually, most of the time, I'm able to get the big mushroom. Saves 3 seconds on that cannon cycle at the beginning of the room. And here's just basic movement, and then the first attempt of a pause glitch, which I sadly paused too early on, so I had to do the fight in a fast manner, very badly. As you can see. While this auto-scroller is going on, I can explain what a pause glitch is, because you'll be seeing multiple attempts of it. A pause glitch is when you pause on the same frame a locked fight begins, so the camera from its locked state becomes unlocked, but the blast zones within that locked fight are still set. So if I did a pause glitch and ran all the way to the side, I will die because the blast zones are still set. But because of this, I can, within certain pause glitches, because certain terrain is different for these pause glitches, I'm able to stand pretty close to blast zones and manipulate the enemies into dying and quickly, like quicker than normal, and spawning more in, and then them in turn dying. And with pause glitches, I do certain fights. Right there, I get a damage boost to get in the door quicker. Certain pause glitches, I do certain fights to make them quick. But that's pretty much the gist of pause glitches. You'll see multiple attempts of them in the run. I only managed to get 2, if I remember correctly, in this run. Here's a little cool nair strat there. Kill all the Goombas right there. I only get 2 pause glitches in this run, but you'll be seeing multiple attempts because I go for any pause glitch with the strats that I made up that can save 4 seconds or more. So those are the only like pause glitches I go, because there are plenty more that you can go that I could go for but aren't worth the time to save. Little damage boost at the start there. Choose Pit over Mario because Pit glide at the start. Back then, we used to use Mario, but you know, as time progressed, it was realized how even though Mario is pretty good for the fight section in this level, Pit's like so significantly faster to be at the start because of that glide and this glide at the beginning. So this is a pretty quick level. Just flying with Pit, killing him because he sucks at fights, and being Mario because Mario's pretty good at fights. So then I pretty much do a set way of that fight to kill them all the quickest. And then double down smash. Some enemies' healths are different than others, so some can die within just like 1 hit from an enemy, and then others die within like 2 hits of another enemy. So knowing what moves to use is best, is really the key here for optimizing the locked fights. Now we're coming up on the last fight, and this is actually one of the 2 that I do manage to get the pause glitch for. So I kill those 2, there's 4 enemies at the edge. I stand very close to the blast zone, and that manipulates the enemies that were to the left of those 4, the Primid and the Boberus spawning, to die pretty quickly because I was very far away from them. So then that in turn sped up the fight. And that's the gist of pause glitches saving time. So another boss fight. Fox F Smash is better than Diddy F smash or any other smash attack from both of them. This was kind of oddly sloppy, I guess. But yeah, right there, instead of up smash, I should have down smash, because that has that hits quicker than up smash. So for the last like hit, I want to do down smash rather than up smash or any other move. Choose Fox because speed. Even though Subspace has a mechanic where it slows speedier characters down and it speeds up slower characters up, Fox is still pretty good for movement, especially with Illusion. It's really good there. That was just a bit sloppy at the beginning, but this level's got some good movement. So it's just a bunch of just Fox jumping and whatnot. Taking the ladder there slower. I side B too early, so I didn't get past that that giant Goomba. So I believe that Lake is one of my favorite levels. I just really enjoy the movement. So we enter that door so that we can come into this section and do a up smash, down smash on the right side of the Goomba fight. Fastest way of doing that. That's pretty old, actually. And then here, the double jump, B reverse, laser onto that button is the fastest form of opening this room up, because if we didn't hit that button, it would be completely on fire and we wouldn't be able to continue. But coming from the top allows me to back air that Toto, and then as I hit the ground, input a forward smash to the right so that it bounces off to the closest wall to it, because it will die when it's getting hit from the like the hit stun or whatever. Like the bouncing, when an enemy bounces, you want to first hit them to the closest wall to them, so that counts as like one wall bounce, because that's sort of a thing that's set for them, is wall bounces before they like fizzle out. Right here, I'm fucked up. I was supposed to enter this door and exit it, and it would save 1.8 seconds in this auto-scroller, but I ended up side being too late. It's not so tight to get that. It's just a really quick double jump input to side B, and I just didn't get it. So I wasn't able to save. I technically lost like a second and a half or so, but it's not really like the end of the world whenever I miss that. And we die with Fox. Right, if I lived and went into that door and came back out, I intentionally would die with Fox, because Diddy Kong is faster for this Bowser fight that's coming at the very end. And pretty much has been all this time as well using Diddy for the Bowser fight, because he's got a spike unlike Fox. So here I get to the left side, so I try to get him to jump or run to me, and then I down air. I wasn't able to get double down air. Would have been, save a little bit of time, and I messed up. I delay my jump there because Bowser always normally delays his first jump. And right there was a small PAL time loss, because some cutscenes take longer to load on PAL, and there'll be a couple of those throughout the run. It's just something we have to deal with. On NTSC, they would just take normal time, but PAL does, while this auto-scroller is going on, I can talk about PAL time saves. So PAL wasn't discovered to have any time save until the middle of 2018, I'd like to believe, if I can remember, where Dragolina found a skip in the Wilds 2 It was already known that you could skip the very first fight of the Wilds 2, but what she ended up accidentally doing is dying all the way to the right, like after the fight skip, and that spawned her into the section of where the end auto-scroller fight would start, and it spawned her after it. And then she showed it to everyone, and then we all tried it. Like, everyone else was running on NTSC, because at the time, even though it was, like, very small, she was, like, the only, like, active European runner, and ended up not being doable. We kept spawning at the very beginning, because NTSC is, like, version 1.02, and PAL is version 1.01, I think. So, yeah, that was a thing, and then we timed it, and it was around a minute 20 seconds, a minute 25 seconds, something like that. And then within the following month, three of us managed to get PAL, and that's how PAL became the standard for top Subspace Emissary runs. So choose Lucas because Lucas better damage than Ness. Plus, whenever we have a loaded character, we normally want to load into the next room with that character if there's a selection screen before it. So it speeds up the process of loading into the room. So down smash for Porky is pretty good, and we beat Lucas again because Lucas is fast and Squirtle sucks for the fights pretty much. Sometimes I'm able to get like a jump from those spikes, but I don't know what happened there. Just didn't work. This is one of the few cases of frame drops in my run. Don't worry about that. Managed to get hit there somewhere. Then a locked fight. Pretty easy locked fight with Lucas. The getting hit by the spikes kind of messed with me a little bit. So this level has been kind of sloppy already. Like, if there's going to be like any levels that have like a good amount of time save and I manage to get them, they'll be a little slop here and there. So another attempt at a pause glitch, didn't get it like a frame or two early, and then I do specific moves against these Bitons to end the spawn or end the fight earlier. So for the Bitons, it's the initial Bitons that spawn in that you have to kill, not the ones that like multiply from the already spawned in ones. So it's just the ones that spawned in that just fell from the top. And then right here is another case of a fight skip. So I kill these flows to avoid getting hit by them while I'm doing the skip, because otherwise it will make me fall into the fight here. And then luckily Lucas is one of the very few characters that we're able to skip levels with, and we use his PK Thunder and skip over the fight trigger. And I think right here is when I check my best split times, and I see that I was like 15 seconds ahead of my best split times, because a low 18-minute time is pretty fucking nice. Like, this early game is really good. Then the bad portions of this run are in mid-game, which was honestly expected, because in my 154.23, my mid-game was ridiculously good. So honestly expected to lose a good amount of time in mid-game. And then the early start of Maze was just a lot of bad RNG, sadly. So those are the two like sections of the run that have major can be improved again. So yeah, we're forced to be Marth, and we gotta just run through the whole castle. And then right here, I just got a lucky mushroom spawn, which is clearly faster. So I just run through everything. Normally I get a damage boost into the door, but because I got big mushroom, I was able to just run and shield roll through everything and get to the door. So right here, I choose Marth over Meta Knight, because Sakurai decided that even though you can literally one-shot everything with Meta Knight, The only thing that you can't is sword primates, and there's a large amount of sword primates in this fight. And also, we'd be loading into the level with Marth again, because Marth is preloaded in the room before, so it would be a faster load than having Meta Knight. But yeah, Marth is able to one-kill all these things, most of these things, with like up air, up smash, so that's what we do. And I side B the Scope Primate, the last Scope Primate is who we want on that platform we want to leave there, so that we spawn into this room with a Meta Knight, because we're about to do some wacky shit that I discovered in 2017. So this is the Battlefield Fortress auto-scroller skip, even though it's like a half auto-scroller skip. So we skip over the first fight, enter the second fight, go back into the first fight because they're close to each other, and that cancels the fights out. But we're able to take a Primate with us from the first fight, and once we kill that thing, at a certain point here, it cancels the first fight. So then now, we're free from the autoscroller, but in reality, the autoscroller is running in the background, so now we're timed to get to this final door quickly, otherwise we'd be completely whiplashed halfway across the stage. And then, once I get through, get done with that, I skipped over 2 more fights. So that room is just absolutely demolished. And what you saw at the beginning, why am I up-airing? Like, why am I doing, like, up airs with all my jumps? It's actually a quarter of a second faster whenever I do a full, like, use up all of Meta Knight's jumps if I up air the frame after the jump, because of the end lag, or actionable frames afterwards ends quickly, like, ends more quicker than just waiting for the jump to get out, or the jump to run out. So up airing there, up-airing the frame after as best as I can for each jump, and doing it for the 6th jump like max that Meta Knight can do saves a quarter of a second every time, and you'll see that throughout the run. That's something I didn't really end up adding into my runs until I came back to running this and getting records about like 6-7 months ago. Alright, here's another fight skip. This level is just all fight skips, kind of. And this one, we go a little more upwards because of a weird trigger is kind of diagonally sloped, and that skips a pretty, actually, lengthy fight. So yeah. That's a 4-minute level, when the level should really be like 8 minutes without skips. Alright, so that's Fortress. Very fun level. It's probably the first reset point in the run. So now we have the forest. Link is complete ass shit. There's a bunch of characters that really suck in Subspace, and actually, if you go to the competitive tier list, for Subspace, especially for Speedrun Subspace, it's sort of backwards. So a lot of the low tiers are really good for Subspace, but plenty of the high tiers, not including Meta Knight, are actually dog shit in Subspace. So we're gonna be Yoshi this whole time, because Yoshi has good kill power, movement, with egg roll obviously, air mobility, and he's just not Link. So that room, I did attempt to do another pause glitch. It's actually, I would consider that pause glitch that I attempted to be the easiest one in the game, but sadly didn't get it. So now I'm just getting damage boosted everywhere and all this shit to make movement faster. And then doing, you know, my typical, like, move-specific locked fights. Unfortunate that that fire crate happened. But, yeah. So this is another pretty quick level. Mainly because of, Yoshi's kill power and egg roll are really good. So, nothing too special about this level, other than the ending is one of the few times where I'll actually do a grab strat where I grab an enemy and chuck them off the stage with Yoshi. I'll do that in another level. But it's definitely fast. So, pretty quick level. I guess there was some sloppiness in the beginning. Plus, I didn't get the pause glitch, so there was already like 3 seconds of time lost there. And then here we come on the end of basically what I call early game. I like to divide these this game into sections: early, mid, late game, and then the maze as its own section. Because there are 30 levels, or 31 levels in total, one of them being the entire Great Maze. So the first 10 early, next 10 mid, last 10 late, and then maze. So we choose Pikachu here because Pikachu is fast with quick attack canceling. So I do quick attack canceling because it's fast. Right there I fucked up too early of a quick attack and went through the platforms. So for this fight, I could have done a pause glitch, but haven't messed with it too much recently, so that's why I didn't end up doing it. I kind of stopped doing it for a while. And then here, I got a lucky damage boost. Like, it's just the luck for that bucket to drop the big metal scrap that launches you. And I got lucky. So right there's a button that creates the auto-scroller in the next room that we need to go into. And Sakurai and the dev team didn't test everything, and you can thunder right through the geometry, or the stage, and rather than getting a key to unlock it, you can just thunder it. Or if you happen to play Zero Suit for whatever reason, you can up B through the stage and hit the button with her as well. So now we have an auto-scroller. Very fun. There's plenty of auto-scrollers in this run. A lot of people say the auto-scrollers heavily ruin the pace or whatever, but if you're playing on easy, it's only about less than an eighth of the run is auto-scrollers, so that's less than 13 minutes. That's like 12 minutes of auto-scrollers or something like that. So you'll see a couple of damage boosts trying to speed everything up, because damage boosts are pretty rad cool. I didn't get a down left input, so I just fell all the way down, sadly. A lot of little sloppiness everywhere. And then rather than climbing all these ladders and crap, we'll just, need a Pikachu. Yeah. And then we got Metal Primates, who we want to avoid projectiles, so thunder jolting them, because they just reflect back. So, not like Thunder Jolt is a good move or anything in this, but that's just a little thing for later, because there are some points where they spawn in with other enemies in different fights in different levels. So that's the end of a early game, a mid 28 early game, pretty ridiculously good. Now we have a very shitty level. So this is the second choke point in the run. Lakeshore. The fights at the very beginning suck ass. So for the start with Zelda, I want to grab her and back throw, move to the right a little bit, charge a forward smash, back up a little bit, and then another forward smash will kill her. But she didn't drift all the way, so I was caught off guard, because normally she drifts all the way, and I was able to kill her. So I probably lost 5 or so seconds. And now for this fight, Yoshi and Link. So there's a lot of RNG involved, and these fights have always been an awful point in the run. There's many PBs out there that have gotten these fights done in around a minute 20, and then plenty with a minute 40. So ideally, I do want to get around a 120-ish, a 115 is ideal. So I had a bad Zelda fight, but I had pretty good Link and Yoshi, luckily. So killing them off the left side is like best. So right here I choose Pit because Pit was already preloaded for me, so I'll get the fastest spawn into the next room. And then I choose Yoshi second because Yoshi is good for the parts coming up. I die with Pit here because there's a pause glitch that if I get, I would save 8 seconds. It's one of the most worth it pause glitches to do. But if I don't get it, then that's fine. But it's really good to be Yoshi here because Yoshi is able to kill enemies and obviously, like I said, do fights really good. Don't know why I did a forward air there. Like, just normally doing a dare would kill the group. But yeah, Yoshi's pretty good. So we just SD with Pit right before I do the pause glitch, in case I get the pause glitch. I would then go all the way to the left and die with Yoshi, and then just before I would spawn in with Mario, the fight would end. Because I am dead, I am invisible to the enemies that are spawning in that fight, so then they would all just disappear and the fight would end, because that's how pause glitches work. Now we have another bad, annoying, long autoscroller. So I guess I could go over maybe the history of me running this. Alright, so I didn't start getting into running anything until summer of 2016, and then I started to do Brawl stuff in early 2017, like March 2017. I did like a bunch of like a little bit of Classic and All-Star because I was just dipping my toes into this stuff. And then I started learning the Great Maze because I wanted to do fully Subspace because that was like the most enjoyable mode to me, and I literally played that shit as a kid a shit ton. Like literally played that like 10 plus years ago so much. So then I started learning Great Maze, and then that is when Rubber Ducky Assassin came by. Ducky, whatever you want to call him, Ducky, came by, and I got really invested, and I started learning Subspace with the Great Maze first. And turns out when I went to see if there's a community, it was literally just Ducky and that's it. So poor Ducky was improving the time to like no one else around, sadly. So that's when I kind of initially joined in, and I've been running this game since pretty much the start of 2017. So that was a bad Shados fight. I'm able to actually get a single up smash on both of them, but it's very like RNG dependent and awkward to get, so I don't normally go for it. But yeah, that was like that literally lost me like 5 seconds or something. It was like very bad. I take a damage boost at the beginning of those like those melting rocks just to get through with the iframes a little bit faster. And then here for these bomb blocks, I just nair them because it's actually faster to nair than short hop nair rather than down tilt. And then here, I just do this fight in a set way. Got very bad last tick in there. Somehow managed to get a double up air on those two Shadows, which normally doesn't happen. I'm losing a decent amount of time because there's a little bit of slop, and then on top of the pause glitch not happening, and then Zelda not being very great. So definitely a good amount of improvement could be made there. So now we have another Lucas Pokemon Trainer stage, and we will be Lucas again because Lucas fast and good for fights, and he also skips a fight at the very beginning. Here I wanted to take a damage boost from the Jike, but I missed, so it only saves like maybe a quarter of a second, maybe more. And then I do I don't think I mentioned it in the Ruin Zoo, but there's a fight skip. That's the we do 2 fight skips with Lucas, one in the Ruin Zoo and then one here, and that's pretty much it. But a good way of movement with Lucas is the PSI magnet boost. I forgot the like technical term that people call it, but it is a good form of movement, and I use it plenty in this run whenever I am Lucas. So now just more movement. So right there is like a 50-50 chance with the movement I do for that fire pyramid to hit me. If I fast fall on like shield in time, I'll get a power shield, so I avoid that, so I avoid screwing up these cycles with the fire. And then right here, I stop a little bit more to the right of the middle of those enemies so that I'm able to get the left pyramid to turn around rather than attack me while I'm attacking the right pyramid. And then these Negagogs weren't all that great, I guess. And then I think I avoided this big mushroom because I felt like it would have interrupted me at some point, because not in every case a big mushroom will help you. So here I delay my F smashes so that as the second set of gliders spawn, that top Armite comes down to me, and I'm able to just F smash that into the gliders. And then I jump on the platform and double fare the Armites. Luckily, that actually kills them. And here we have another shitty RNG fight with Wario. And there's two methods to this fight that you can do. Before doing this back throw method, risky method, we would do a PK fire strat where we would PK fire him against the wall up to 56% and then up smash. That was pretty consistent. And then a little while ago we started doing that, and it's riskier, obviously, because if there's an item that spawns in, because there's always an item that spawns in like 10 seconds afterwards, after the fight starts, he'll gravitate towards the item, so we want to kind of lure him in and kill him quickly. Alright, and then here's another Yoshi stage, cave, because plenty of like horizontal hallways and movement. And then I think I kept holding up, so I kept grabbing those ladders. Here in this fight with Yoshi, it's really good to do dash attack, because those paratroopers, we want to find a move that will kill them in one hit, because if most of the time if we don't kill them in one hit, they'll respawn. That's just a little thing that they put into the game. I don't know why, but the paratroopers will respawn if you don't get them killed in one hit. It's really annoying. But yeah, some of these like places where it seems like I should be egg rolling, definitely worth not egg rolling because of the hit lag created by running into enemies with it. So, and then I haven't mentioned, but with Yoshi doing a tongue to cancel vertical momentum helps us be able to act quicker onto platforms, so that's a very useful tech. And then here, this ending glider is pretty much on a timer, and what we want to do is hope that we get an item so that we can throw it to that glider, and rather than having to sit there and down tilt it, which would save like 2 seconds. And then more vertical movement and egg roll. Here's the second time I got a pause glitch. Saves 2 seconds, being able to kill only the right giant Goomba rather than the right and the left. A little bit of sloppy end. This end is normally always kind of like sloppy-ish. But yeah, very close to a minute ahead. I didn't want to get damage boosted there. I wanted to prevent getting damage boosted and then egg roll to the end because it's a little bit quicker. And then right here we choose Squirtle because there's a global cycle in this first room that we can make with Squirtle so that we don't lose a couple of seconds getting to the end of this room. So we want to get out of the cart, and then I side B at the right time to prevent getting hit by one of those Bobras, make that cycle, and then kill stuff here, or hit them at least so that they don't hit me back, and then do specific movement to get through all of these. You can air dodge through spikes here, so that's what we do. And then I time an air dodge here so I don't get hit by the rotor, back air the flows, and then entering the door at the fastest time, which is a 102. And then we're back to another annoyingly long auto-scroller. Auto-scrollers only take like 12 to 13 minutes of the run. It's really not that long. But I guess while this is happening, I can continue my history a little bit again. So once I started doing runs in May of 2017, I ended up doing like a couple runs, getting a couple PBs, then taking breaks. Like, that's my history with like coming back to this game. I would get a couple PBs, take a long ass break, like 6 months. The longest I've had was a year and a half. Come back, get PBs, leave, come back, get PBs, and I would PB very quickly. It wouldn't take me very long, but I was always like second place at Ducky. I actually didn't take record from him until my 158 on September 2019, I believe. So right here I'm taking damage with Lucas because I'm going to be taking a pretty large damage boost at the end of this room. And the damage carries over to the next room, but the fight strats are so consistent that there's no reason not to go for this damage boost. So this is another case of entering a secret door, and an auto-scroller speeds it up, or in this case cancels it out completely, so then I'm able to do a magnet boost. And I actually missed that first glider. I wanted to hit that one, but the second one's always a good backup. Saves actually like a second. All that damage for 1 second. The only potential time I could actually die in this room, I'd say, is the third fight in this series of fights here, where a little mind bomb could actually spawn in. So right here are some specific timings with up smash to be able to kill all those in 2 goes, 2 up smashes, and then obviously doing fair, because fair's strong, and then another timing of up smashes right when the Shados open their blades, they will die from the up smash because up smash is so huge. So now there's a series of buttons that I have to hit to open up these doorways, and the fastest way of doing that is to just stop running and jabbing rather than like shield jab or whatever. And then we're gonna be coming up on that was just unfortunate. I had to roll here, otherwise I think I had a chance of actually dying there, which would have not been good, because then I would have been entering this shitty fight with Squirtle. So now we have Charizard. And like I've been saying, these like characters at the very end of levels are really shitty. And like RNG. So normally I want to back throw Charizard off the stage, get the back air spike with Lucas, which is a really difficult spike to hit. He kind of messed around, so I was able to just F-smash him far away enough to be able to hog the ledge, because just like Melee, you can ledge hog in Brawl. So, little sloppy, but that's expected. So, I'm pretty sure at the ruins is when I said Time City incoming. That's because this PB that I'm running against had a ridiculously good mid-game, and you will see by the end of it how much I lose. It's actually crazy that I did not end up behind after this mid-game. Almost did, but yeah, this mid-game was very difficult to run against. So obviously Meta Knight, being the top tier of the game, is good in Subspace, and his glide So I jump off and glide at a specific time, dip up and down, and then I'm able to glide all the way across. Here I try to do invisible cape glitch to get across these mines. Fastest way of doing so. And here's a little like weird glitch that I wasn't able to get called mountain clip, where with that specific ledge, and if you time it right on the same like frame or pixel, you would clip into the mountain, and you would be able to prevent having to come to the top, skip a fight at the top, and then just glide through the entire cliff. And it actually saves 10 seconds if you get it first try. So I pretty much just lost like 12 seconds there from not getting it, because my PB did get it. The 154.23 did get it. So that's why I said Time Lost City incoming, because I was totally not expecting to get it. At this point, I'm pretty sure I was starting to get it pretty, like, not consistently, but more often than not. But it sucks that I wasn't able to get it. This record doesn't have cool glitch in it. Sad. Another auto-scroller, because there already wasn't enough in this game. Nothing we can do to speed up most of them, as most of them don't have secret doors. And then I jump up, get these big primates out of the way, because I want to do a glide past these cannons in this section. So just jumping up, killing those primates at the same time to start a glide is pretty fast. And we glide all the way into another boss fight with Gallium. And Gallium, it's pretty simple. I try to go all the way to the right so that in case when he does his 4-jump move, he stays in one spot, so I'm able to like consistently hit him very easily rather than him jumping to the other side and me trying to, you know, chase him down with nairs like that. I wasn't able to keep him to one side. So with boss fights with Meta Knight, because you'll be seeing them done in the maze significantly. Yes, come. Is that Nair and down smash are the best options of damage for boss fights. And here, do Gallium again, except we have the broken rock smash of Charizard because of a cannon. Gallium fell down into Charizard or Pokemon Trainer and Lucas's hands, and now they have to fight him. And Rock Smash is broken against bosses. It wasn't that hard to find out at the very beginning of Brawl's release. And that's been a thing for ages. Wasn't good RNG. The best RNG to get there would have been a punch, because of the startup is the startup takes a while, and I wasn't able to get that there. So now here's what I was talking about earlier. We are doing Wilds 2 Auto-Scroller Skip, or also known as PAL Skip. I skip a fight there with Yoshi. I walk over to a certain part of that section of the rock platforms there, and then I die, and then that just automatically puts me past where the auto-scroller fight the auto-scroller fight would start, and that literally just saved me 1 minute 25 seconds. It goes by that quickly, but yeah, I would do Yoshi for that skip rather than Kirby, because even though Kirby, and then here's another glide into another fight skip. This level is just so fast. Without the fight skip, it's like nearly 3 minutes long. But I do Yoshi for the fight skip rather than Kirby, because we used to do Kirby before. I found out while doing ILs that Yoshi, even though he spawned in a second slower than Kirby, he actually does the fight skip a second and a half faster. So in turn, doing Yoshi rather than Kirby for the fight skip, for just power skip in general, saves a half a second. So now we have Swamp, and back then this was another difficult level for most of us. Just a lot of movement, fights, and things that can go wrong. But as time progressed, at least to me, became one of the more consistent levels, honestly. Disregard the 12 seconds impossible time save. I'm pretty sure most of that came from the giant Diddy fight. But yeah, I messed up there. Early jump, I think. But yeah, Fox. Illusion, really good. Bad RNG, getting hit everywhere. Not really that great. And then this is actually one of the very few fights, or probably the only fight, that I haven't really spent too much time on messing around with and researching fastest ways to complete. So some of it was sloppy there. And then another auto-scroller. And then halfway through, I'm going to be entering a secret door off screen. The earliest as I can, because even though it's technically there, the camera has to reach a certain height here for us to actually enter it. And then this, you know, skips a little bit of the auto-scroller, saves like 3 or 4 seconds. So now we have another upcoming BS section to run. And very recently, I did not figure this out, but it's so fucking obvious, but I didn't figure it out until recently. None of us went into this fight with Diddy Kong and actually did the giant Diddy fight with Diddy Kong. You already load into a already preloaded character, and by dying quicker, so that I don't die and then like spawn in the door, like as I spawn back in with Diddy, we're able to spawn in instantly with Diddy. It's super quick, and then we just back throw Diddy, and that's the magic trick. Just walk over the blast zone and then kill him. But if I were to do that fight and with Fox, one of those cutscenes after the Diddy fight would have been like 5 seconds longer, and that's how we prevent losing time there, is actually entering the fight with Diddy and then doing the fight with Diddy. And this all saves 8 seconds. That all literally saved 8 seconds, and no one bothered to test it before. Like, I'm pretty sure before this record, this 152, I didn't do it in any previous time. So then we have like a bunch of just, in the previous room, just cannon movement, and then spring movement, which is fastest with side B, obviously. But yeah, this level was quite interesting. Just quite a lot of movement. Normally the Fox stages have heavy movement. Small auto-scroller, fight, and then another small auto-scroller. As I do for most fights, I do them in a specific way to, you know, get the fight over with as quick as possible. Just a bunch of F smashes and then killing one single paratrooper in air. And then right here is very weird. I don't know how I inputted an up B, but I was supposed to do an illusion, as it wasn't already obvious. And then I would enter the door, so I technically just lost 7 seconds because I got a random up B. I don't know why, but it happened, and it's like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, I'm still pretty ahead. So, that was kind of unfortunate that that happened, but oh well. Supposed to do a side B into the door, but somehow got an up B, and I didn't adjust in time. So now we start off this with Zero Suit, because Zero Suit and Pikachu's speed, like run speed, are pretty much the same on Subspace. But Zero Suit also saves time going down these stairs by not going down them at all and just down airing past them. But now we have another annoying part of the run. Another set of shadow characters, as they call them, I guess. And we want to be Pikachu, even though we're not preloading in quickly. Pikachu does these fights so much better than Zero Suit could, because a down smash sends them upwards. Except I got really bad RNG, and they kept being all whack, so inevitably lost a bunch of time. And then we kill him off the top. And then I go for pretty early Thunder's Air because they always gravitate towards the middle of the stage. But yeah, that wasn't really that good. I got kind of screwed by RNG there. Alright. And then we want to be Samus rather than Pikachu here because we're going to be doing a Death Warp / Fight Skip. And we want to be Pikachu for the room after the next room. So that's why we're Samus here. So this room for a long time really screwed around with everyone. No one knew how to do it optimally until I messed around with it like some years ago, and that's pretty much how it should look. So now we're going to be doing a very easy fight skip / death warp where we just jump off of this platform, and then we're going to be going to the right. All we need to be is to the right of this pillar, and then it will death warp us to the right spot where we thunder a button that activates all these platforms, and then we just ride this platform to the end of the room rather than going on a series of platforms. And then now, while we're Pikachu, we're going to be skipping a section of this room where we would have to go through that bottom teleporter and go through a spring room, and then the right side of this room. Instead, they underestimated the power of Pikachu's quick attacks, so we can literally just go into the ending teleporter room and just wall jump, quick attack up to the teleporter to get to the button quickly. So sadly for this fight, for the Ridley fight, both Samus and Pikachu suck for it, but the best move to do is Pikachu up smash. It's really slow, and then I saw that a firecracker spawned, and fun fact, firecracker is actually good for most bosses. So then I instantly gravitate towards it because it does a lot of damage like that. So it's optimal to get a... Oh, that sounds awful. So, whenever I see Firecracker, I want it, except if it's for, like, Rayquaza, because Rayquaza, it's not worth it for Rayquaza. But for every other boss, I'm pretty sure Firecracker's worth it. But it's really good for that, because that's, like, the slowest boss fight. So now, we're coming up on the very end of mid-game. And now we have this section of Falcon, Olimar. Olimar is completely worthless in Subspace. I went for another quick, like, pause glitch that would have saved 3 seconds, but didn't get it. So I do the fight as I normally do. I do specific moves, obviously. Right there, if I land on top of that, I forgot what the name is of them. I would have been able to cancel the end lag of the up B and be able to jump off. Right here, I do a quick dash attack so that I hit everyone up to be able to get a quick 1-kill down smash. And then right here, dump trip. Yes, tripping does happen in Subspace, but it's less frequent. It's not the 1 in 100 that would happen in, like, normal, like, Brawl. So I die so that those Shadas float away. And I want to be DK for the next section, because DK is pretty good. And when you get a big mushroom, you just absolutely dominate the whole platform. Sadly, it didn't end all the way. This fight is either really good or really bad. It wasn't really that good, but still ahead. So that's the end of mid-game, and now we start early game. So yeah, keeping up with my PB pace for mid-game is, like, for that PB was really hard. It was just a really good mid-game in the 154. So now we have, I'd say this record's worst level. It was really bad all in all. Normally, I want to do movement and not get hit there, and avoid these flows to make a cannon cycle here. That would be fast and just vertical movement, and I kept messing up. This level, in general, like, I had a chance of dying there. I got lucky. That was just awful. This is the worst split in the entire run, I believe. So, if I did all the movement right, it looks cool, and I lost like 10 plus seconds or something like that. I literally lost, I'm pretty sure I lost all of my time saved just from this room. And then we go into the longest auto-scroller of the game, if you're playing on easy. It's like the only 2-minute auto-scroller. So let's see, what can I talk about while this game wastes time? I guess I can continue on the history of me running. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I left off on how I managed to get PBs, how I took breaks. It didn't really take me too much effort to get PBs and learn strats and, you know, get faster at the game. But I was never able to get into that range of Ducky until Sub 2 was achieved in early 2019. And when Sub 2 was achieved, pretty much him and other runners that were running the game kind of quit. Like, that was the ultimate goal at the time. So what other reason would they have to, you know, run the game anymore? So then Sub 2 was achieved, and then at that time, I was already like 1 year into a large break, and then a couple months later, Imprisoned Shadow, who when I was beginning to run in 2017, was second place, and he wasn't running anymore. He wanted to do a race and get me, and he wanted to do a race against me, so then I was like, sure, I'll do a race, get a PB by 3 minutes, and then I'm like, I was going to come back to the game anyway, so may as do it now. And within a month of coming back, or 2 months or something like that, I managed to go from like a 211 to a 158, and the first time I held record was my 158. And then ever since then, I just improved. And over the course of 2020, improved it all the way down by 6 minutes, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, a lot of vertical movement in this room. This whole level is just pretty much vertical movement. And then we have another shady part of the level of the entire run, the the Lucario fight here. So what I want him to do is stay on that platform in Aurasphere so that I can do a fair and then just do a bunch of down smashes, but I got absolutely bullshitted. I don't know why I down smashed there. Should have rolled, then down smash. I got this mushroom, thinking I would have killed him right there, but actually, I wasn't able to kill him while I was gigantic. So this fight lost me another 20 seconds to an already horrible split, so literally all that nearly minute ahead pace, down to nearly even. So just an awful level, like completely sad, like very sad, but what can I do? Alright, and then we have another shitty horde fight. This is just pretty much a horde fight level. I hate it. It can be either really good or really bad. I'm pretty sure it was really bad. But yeah, with Yoshi, most like options with like up air, down air, fair if I need to, up smash, really good. And I'm able to manipulate the beginning primates from this horde fight over to me by going to a corner. But yeah, this is pretty much all the fight. Not like all the level, like what the level is. It's just up smash with up smash, up air with Yoshi, and it can be really good or really bad depending if the enemies come towards you. I go too close to this glider, so I mess up my strat here of just forward smashing the two gliders into each other, and then that level just went to complete shit. Yeah, I played really bad the last couple of levels. But yeah, while I was going on about my history, I wanted to say that throughout 2019, when Shadow got me back into running the game in mid-2019, I seriously, I heavily focused on prioritizing ILs, because back then it was sort of a meme to do ILs, so everyone just kind of memed on doing ILs. And I decided to do ILs because if I, find faster strats, more optimal movement, and moves to use in fights and whatnot, the run could be improved by a lot. So here is Snake, and Dacus is the fastest form of movement. We're able to do Dacus with Snake, but not with Sheik in the Sea of Clouds, because the mechanics are changed. And here is a very recently added strat to my runs called Snake Skip, where in this room I use a series of C4 inflicting hits to traverse out of bounds to reach the final door of this room, rather than breaking all 3 portals and hitting the buttons to get rid of three platforms that would lock this room. And I was able to skip all that by being Snake and doing exactly that, and that saves 20 seconds. All that for 20 seconds. That is one of it's not the hardest it's not really a hard trick. It's just the tension's there, because if you get it, you save 20 seconds. But you have 4 different places where you can die, and if you die in the worst place, you're losing 40 seconds. So it's got a lot of tension to it. And that was actually one of the first couple of times that I ever got it in a full run. Before this, I think I got it 3 times in a run before, but all those runs sucked, / were just no resets. So that was the only time where I actually did a small pop off. I was at even pace. I was at this pace in the previous PB, but I didn't get it. So this was actually the first time I got it while I was ahead. Good little Nair double hit into a double down smash hit for the Nagagod kill. The metal primate in this room, I was able to avoid having to go over all the way to it by just down smashing through the stage to kill it. And here is another shitty Shadow character fight with Zelda and Peach. Just want to down smash them. This is going to be ridiculously good until they hit into each other. If they didn't hit into each other, I would have been able to kill them with that same down smash, but this was still a pretty good fight. I didn't expect that to kill. So yeah, the Snake Skip saves 20 seconds. So that was pretty pumped. But now you're about to see a shit ton of time save happen, because this endgame was kind of ridiculous. So now Sheik rather than Peach, because Sheik's better movement because of chains are really good for grabbing ledges from further away, so use that a bunch. And then, like I just said before, we can't check Dacus with Sheik in Subspace. Got a little damage boost there. That I only do in ILs, but then I started doing it in runs recently. It's a very tight window to get that specific damage boost that would save time. I got Curry, which actually saves time, but I kind of messed up that ending for that button a little bit. But yeah, no Dacus with Sheik, sadly. Mechanics are changed in Subspace that prevent us from doing that. So now we have quite an interesting room. There's a global door cycle at the very end of this room, and I was able to finally get the earliest possible in an IL. It's ridiculously hard to get in a full run, so we've all just gotten, the second best door cycle here. Also, I want to try to avoid getting up to 100% here, because just like in Melee, if I was on 100%, the get up on ledges for this last section when I would be chaining with Cheek, it would do a slow get up. So I was lucky enough to be under 100, so I would be able to avoid the slow get up animation. And just chain to the end. But yeah, that was an awful level in my peep in the 154-23, and I don't remember why, but I just absolutely go on a tear in this endgame and save so much time. Literally going from nearly a minute ahead to even, and then just having a ridiculous endgame. Here, I choose Snake, because Snake F-tilt is the best way of getting damage off on Duon. Before we used to use Sheik. I can't remember why. I saw a big mushroom spawn. That's lucky. Save a bunch of time just because of that. Do a bunch of gigantic Dacuses, because why not? Yeah, it's very rare to save all that time, because in most of these splits, I've added my IL goals too. I just do that sometimes, so it's very hard to get all that time saved. But that was very close to record bridge in a full run, which is actually like kind of crazy. So now we have a very super short level with Pikachu, and I'm gonna be doing a thing called an elevator clip, where we're gonna use an elevator to clip into the walls and prevent riding more elevators and just go straight to the end. Saves. It saves how much? 4 seconds? Something like that. It's not that much, but it's not that hard. Right here, I got like pretty good RNG. Big mushroom. Like, that was pretty good. The end lag kind of screwed me there of a gold, but that was pretty good. Alright, and then we have a notorious run killer, Bomb Factory 2. The longest level in the game outside of Great Maze, obviously. There's a lot that goes on in this level. I don't know why I air dodge through that missile, because normally when I get damage boosted, it doesn't really save that much at all, but it's slightly faster. I do some more optimized movement through all those breakable blocks. I get an unlucky trip, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, I think this didn't go that well. I was able to get those two in one hit, but normally I want to hit the auto lance into the metal primate so that, you know, the locked fight ends quicker. But, you know, hitting them both of this with one hit is good enough to. I've had runs where I literally died with Captain Falcon right before entering this door, and that's always been a scary thing for me. That Simul just killing me at the end, making me lose a shit ton of time. So now we have some switches to hit to unlock that door, and the RNG could be very good or very bad with the mites and that poppant. But normally I'm able to get through all this like pretty quickly. Took me a while to kill that flow. Normally I'd be able to kill the last two flows and the R-mite at the same time, but I wasn't able to that time. Didn't mean to take that damage boost, but it just I made a bad cycle. And then instead of taking a ladder, I do wall jumps. Damage boost, just to get over everything quicker. Then jump over those exhaust things or whatever. And then now we're in small auto-scroller to a locked fight. And then this is another attempt at a pause glitch, I believe. Oh, okay, I guess I didn't go for it. Normally I'd go for it, because if I were to get it, I'd be able to skip a key that we would have to get to unlock this gate to enter the Horde fight in this level, and save like 7 seconds. But I guess I didn't do it because I wasn't really... I haven't messed with it in a while. But now, getting into this fight at sub 250 is okay. Sub 240 would have been more ideal, but now we choose Falcon because, well, preloaded and Falcon's really good. So I go towards the blast zone to make sure these Auroros spawn in and die quickly without attacking me. And I stay to the left because that's the quickest way of getting them to spawn in and die quickly. And then I just down smash everything to oblivion. And then these Nagagogs can be really shitty. Luckily, I got pretty good Nagagogs. That's like perfect Nagagogs. I don't want them all coming at me at once because it's impossible to kill all three of them at the same time. And then right here is a very scary part of the run. I want to kill these two Armanks that spawn in as they spawn in, because otherwise I'd have to get them to hit me to be able to kill them. And that could lose 10 seconds each Armank if that were to happen. So getting a sub 4 horde fight is great. So now here's another semi-PAL exclusive skip. Not exclusive, but semi-exclusive the way I'm doing it. So with Rob, we up B out of bounds and we die, which is the PAL exclusive part because the camera's locked, and we skip the entire auto-scroller. And at that part, that was probably the fastest my heart has raced in a run before. Like, I was pretty calm before that happened. I'm pretty sure I typed something here in the chat because this was literally at like 1 in the morning, and I didn't have my mic on because of it. Yeah. I was like, that's literally like the last trick I have to worry about before the Great Maze happens. So, if I was playing on NTSC, that camera that was locked wouldn't have been locked, but you would have been able to do the skip, but you would have to fall all the way down to skip the auto scroller rather than dying, and it only saved 7 seconds on PAL, and doing the whole auto scroller skip there saves a whole minute on PAL. So we beat DK here because DK is faster than Falcon if you do it right. And we obviously load in. We want to die with Falcon beforehand to load in with DK quicker. And if I was able to get a hit before that last snare, that would have been a 142. And 142 is like the optimal time to get with DK. So yeah, as you can see, that was even though there's some slop, that was a crazy good bomb too, and that shit never happens. So I went from even to over a minute ahead in just over 10 minutes. So that was really just the last worrying trick I had to do. So now we have the ending subspace levels, which involve movement and then skips at the end of this level, which really aren't hard. And at this moment, I think I'm looking at my best possible time, and I'm like, I'm seriously about to enter. I'm literally about to enter the Great Maze at 1:49 best possible time, which is crazy. Like, entering the maze less than 4 minutes from some of us is honestly kind of unheard of until this run. So we have to defeat these, we have to kill the portals before the fight becomes unlocked. Sadly, no skip for them for that auto-scroller. So then right here, do a long glide to skip 3 fights in a row with Meta Knight. Very simple stuff. And then here are the levels where we save characters that we want for the maze. So in Subspace 1, we're going to save a few for menuing purposes. And then we're going to save Charizard, who helps us for 2 bosses in the maze. And then in Subspace 2, we pretty much only save Meta Knight, because that's all we need. So I do specific movement to get to the top as quick as possible. That Trowlon didn't hit me up. Went all the way down, sadly. Normally that big pyramid attacks, but it didn't that time. So here, this is a detour because Charizard's Rock Smash, like we saw in Ruin Hall, is very good, and we would like to use him against two bosses that would save significant amount of time. So we take a little 15-second detour to get him, and then the rest of the characters in this level are pretty much for menuing, because we want to menu for the Great Maze as quick as possible, and also we do quitting strats, where we quit the game and we return to the main menu of the game so that we could prevent backtracking in the maze. And we do that twice because there's a significant amount of backtracking that you would have to do in some sections, in some quadrants of the maze. So here is another sucking cuck strat. Bowser can be really good or really bad. Normally when he does his flamethrower attack, he has a really bad pattern, but when he doesn't, his pattern's usually good. So I could easily gold that level. These last two levels I never really practiced too much with like getting the characters that I do, because if I were to do any prison IOs with them, I would avoid the characters. So I never really practiced doing actual IOs with obtaining the characters that I do. So like that's one of the more improvable goals. So now we have a level where we play with, you know, the main character of the video game, Kirby, and right there we get Meta Knight at the beginning, and that's the only character we save here, because all we want to use in the maze is Meta Knight and Charizard. Right here, a series of down smashes to get rid of the blocks as quick as possible. And then I was able to complete the bottom part of this fight quick enough to get up to the top and up smash the Arm Knight. If I wasn't, I would lose 2 seconds. And Kirby says hi a lot because he has nothing better to do. He's like literally waiting in an elevator. He's listening to his elevator music right now. Because Sakurai said 12 minutes of auto-scroller seems pretty fine for a 2-hour game. Or technically, it's casually, people say this game takes like 8 to 12 hours, I guess. So yeah, this is the last auto-scroller in the game. But yeah, coming up on the end of the end game, or what many of us like to call it, Subspace RTA, which is the entire run before the Great Maze. So right here I was attempting another pause glitch. That's if I were to get it and do the strat correctly of hitting the pyramid off and then jumping to the platform, or the end platform with the door on it, it would have saved the most amount of time. It's about 11-12 seconds. Sadly, I didn't get it. So yeah, I've never finished Subspace RTA in 124, and if I, didn't lose time in a couple of the mid-game levels, I would have gotten a 123 Subspace RTA, which is honestly crazy. So, go to the right of the Ganagas here to avoid getting hit by the Tickens at first, but I suck ass and get hit by them anyway. And then hammer the rest of them, which one-shots them. And then miss that one because I suck at the game. And that's pretty much the run minus Great Maze. So, 1:24:13 Subspace RTA, pretty fucking crazy. So now we have the maze. And then the only reason why I have a start maze split is because I really like Great Maze, like RTA runs. Like I literally learned the game first through Great Maze before doing the actual like other levels. So like I said, all of the Great Maze is Meta Knight and Charizard. Like 90 like 98% Meta Knight and then 2% Charizard. So pretty much throughout the entirety of the Great Maze, the most that's going to be happening for these boss fights will be, like I said before, a bunch of Nair and down smash. And then for most of the character fights is going to be dash attack up B. And then on some occasion, there's going to be a fair strat that I put in where fair sends characters more off stage. That way, because if I were to do a dash attack up B strat against a character in the middle of a stage, it won't kill them. But if I fair them first, they get sent farther out. But the risk of doing fair first is that their next move will be unpredictable. I don't know if they're going to be doing a late jump, an early jump, an air dodge, an up B. Like, it's the possibilities are limitless. So that's why doing a fair strat is very risky. Also, like I said before, in this run, other than mid-game not being that great, the very beginning of Maze was just a lot of bad RNG. And there's something I like to believe about Maze, is that it runs on seeds. I can definitely tell if I have a good Maze seed when enemies comply and I'm able to get these, these specific kills on them that I normally would. But for a good amount of these enemies, of these characters, it really was not that great. Like, a lot of, just random attacking me, a lot of weird movement. So I had a bad seed. So I was, right here, I was, not annoyed, but, why did this good of a run have to have such a bad maze orange, like a maze seed? Because the whole maze would then be, pretty bad RNG overall, I'd say. But luckily for me, I was doing really good in Maze recently, so I ended up, kind of powering through that bad RNG, to be honest. It was really only the very beginning of Maze that was, really bad, but there's still plenty of bad RNG throughout. But I was able to power through it and get a pretty ridiculous time with the RNG that I got. So here, I knew I had a very bad Maze seed. Normally Yoshi would double jump into me. He just single hopped into me. Because then there's a free kill set up with Yoshi. I automatically lose 20 seconds to pretty much bad RNG. So I was a little, not annoyed, but just I didn't think I was ever gonna get a run this good again. I would have to seriously grind to get a good run again, because I never really grinded for records or runs. I came through them casually. I was able to just be on pace, good paces a lot of times. Right here, I completely screwed up a roll strat where I roll on a platform and they jump to me, and then I up air, up B. You'll see that for a few other characters. Right there, I was just so focused on the splits. I was just so focused on the splits I didn't pay attention. And there will be a couple of times in the run where it looks like that I kind of just didn't pay attention, or I wasn't doing the right thing. But at many points in the run, I just stopped focusing on the splits and just focused on the run. So in that door, in the quadrant 2 door, the maze is split up into 4 quadrants, and that door I entered, that orange door, was the top right quadrant. I entered that door because, like I said before, I'm going to be doing quit strats, where I quit out of the Great Maze to avoid backtracking, because as you can tell, that whole ladder, that bomb and ladder room, and then this whole horizontal room creates a lot of backtracking. So right after Olimar, which was really great, I'm going to quit out of the game mode, not save, because saving loses time, and that's because our current file's progression is already saved, on the previous data file, so we automatically just enter it through that. And then right here, choose Charizard, because this is one of the 2 times we use Charizard, because we're entering the maze again right as we're about to do a boss, so Charizard is the quickest way to do this for Duon rather than Meta Knight. Meta Knight's still really good for bosses, but it's just faster to get through Duon with Charizard. And I chose Kirby third because there's been plenty of runs where this section I died with Charizard and Meta Knight, and obviously I would have to do a couple of characters with Kirby, which I don't want to be. I literally want to do the whole maze, almost the whole maze with Meta Knight. Right there, I switch into Squirtle because it's faster to die off the side here with Squirtle's side B. But yeah, I started choosing Kirby here because it's like, you know, Kirby's a really good backup for maze. Like his back air is really good. Dare kills enemies or characters. So yeah. So that's why I started choosing. So yeah, right there is a case of just the unpredictable nature after doing a fair. You just don't know if they're gonna jump early, air dodge, like jump late, come down with an attack. It's just a very risky strat, but it literally, in like almost every case, it guarantees a B kill because it sends out farther than a dash attack, even though dash attack literally sets up for an up B. But some of these characters don't die off of just normal dash attack up B. Right here I get the key to unlock that to destroy these bomb blocks, but you can actually use another elevator clip to skip that key, except it's a very super tight elevator clip, so I don't even bother with it. So yeah, I suck, and I kept getting opposite direction hits on the up B because I kept inputting up B late. That's why he kept going the other way. And as you can tell, like, this maze is falling apart. Like, sure, I'm getting bad RNG, but I'm also not executing very well. So the very beginning of maze really sucks, but I really end up bringing this back somehow. Like, as you can see, throughout this whole time I'm running against 152 pace splits. These were just sort of pacer splits. I wasn't planning on getting 152. Like, in the chat, you could see me talking about getting a 153. My mind's not even on a 152. I just made these splits as a pacer. But yeah, and at some points in the maze, I was like pretty focused on the splits, and I just had to really like stop doing that. Because I've been attached to runs before, and there's two previous records that I was attached to: the 157.04. And then the first 154, the 154.39 were two runs that I was pretty attached to in maze. Ended up shitting the bed in the end, not getting my goal times, which would have been 156 at the time. And then I was on 153 pace on that 153.39 run and shat the bed hard at the end. So I've been attached to runs before, and this was like starting to be another case of it, but I like... midway through the maze, I really just stopped looking at my splits completely. Doing a little glide here saves a little bit of time. Ouch. So yeah, this movement's very weird. To get to Porky with Meta Knight, doing glides. There's no good place to start a glide, so just a bunch of tornadoes. And then Porky. For boss fights, like I said, best course of action with Meta Knight, nair the down smash. And then getting a drill there is really good. If I didn't take damage there, at the very fucking end, I would have avoided having to heal here. I'm pretty sure I did decide to heal here. I think. I could be wrong. Did I risk it? I really can't remember. No, I didn't. I would have been able to avoid getting a heal here, which would have saved me like 10 seconds or something like that. So this record only had one heal, and that was it. I'm pretty sure. Because there's plenty of places where I can die, and if I die with Meta Knight, I would be Kirby, and then I have to do, most likely, some characters with Kirby, which I don't want to do, and Kirby doesn't have good movement. And here's a case of another roll up air strat that I wasn't able to get because I mistimed my up B. So yeah, it was pretty obvious that this run was, this really ridiculous run was sort of going to shit. And then it all of a sudden, I can't remember when, but it all of a sudden just started to, I just started to pop off. I still didn't have good RNG. I knew I was playing on a bad maze seed, so I had to just execute better, understand what was gonna happen. Because once you know you have a bad seed based on the patterns of many of the characters, it's not gonna get better. Right there, I was doing a specific free kill on Pikachu, because Pikachu, there are a couple characters that are very annoying in Maze, Pikachu being one of them, that I accidentally mistimed the jump, and by doing that, I actually saved myself 4 seconds, as you can see from previous segment splits. The one person who followed me throughout this run. Right there in that room, it's actually faster to drop down and go hit the blue switch first before killing Rob and hitting the green switch here. The reason why I still do it, also these up Bs are like very hard to get, so pretty nice to get them there. The reason why I do it is I just always have done it, and I can't be bothered to change my Rob and Ridley splits. Interesting gold there. Probably saved the gold because of the up Bs there, but it's faster to go hit the blue switch and then go hit the green switch and kill Rob, but I never changed them because I guess I just never cared / wanted to remove and change up my Rob and Ridley splits, or my Rob and Ridley golds. Right there in the room while I was going over to the blue switch, I wanted to get a up air on the switch. You're able to do it with, like, right there with an up air short hop. It's like tight timing. So yeah, there was obviously a bunch of, halfway through, already a bunch of sloppiness, bad RNG and execution with Maze, but at the end of the day, I'm just super surprised I managed to play the second half of Maze really well and get the time that I got. So, if I didn't heal in Donkey Kong, I would very likely heal right there, because I would have kept the damage over and gotten more damage, very likely, from Ridley. But I got really lucky with Ridley, and I got good moves, so I didn't get damage. A little bit of frame drops there again. So yeah, that room is like very risky. You have to do tornadoes everywhere because get hit. It's a very annoying room, so I briefly saved back my DK time save because in the 154.23 I did actually heal in Bowser. Because in a full run, I'm very likely gonna heal at either or place. It's very hard to have a run where I don't heal at all. So, very risky. It's only worth doing in just normal Maze RTA runs where I normally don't heal. But in a full run, it's not worth it. At least for... It's at least good to heal once. Unless you're really lucky. But yeah, I guess while some of these characters and movement go on, because it's pretty much just the whole maze, most of it is just dash attack, up B. The maze route has been the same since pretty much when it was originally routed. Like way before, even before Ducky's time. The only change to it, I guess you can quote on it recently, which would have been like probably in 2018, is the section coming up is the bottom right, or the bottom left quadrant. After all this is like, oh my god, what the hell is going on here? I don't remember this being that bad. Oh my. But yeah, there's a small route change in the bottom left quadrant, which I will get to when that happens. Can't remember how much we timed it. I think it saves 15 seconds or something. It was something like that. It's such a long time ago when it was rerouted. But yeah, another case of annoying characters, Fox being one of them. He spawns really close to you, so I just kind of time my spawning in and try to get a quick hit on him. But yeah. Kind of bringing this run back, even though it kind of sucked the last like few characters. Right there on the input viewer, I was spamming the triggers to get a tech roll there, because if I didn't, I would just plop on the ground slower than a tech roll. I also do it there. It's best choice to do for cannons. Wasn't able to do that in previous levels because it wouldn't allow you to. So yeah, Meta Ridley's not that great with Meta Knight. Like, even though Nair is pretty powerful, like, you'd say a pretty significant amount of time if to be Charizard here, but obviously you're not gonna just die and then respawn with Meta Knight. So now we're back in the bottom right quadrant, and if I needed to heal, I would heal there, because Mario is one of the more annoying characters in the maze. Right there, I should have gone for an up B, but I went for a really safe fair because he's unpredictable sometimes. But yeah, this section up to Gallium is like 3 rooms, and then Gallium can really screw you over in damage. So in runs, I would normally avoid healing before Mario and Gallium, because normally I would enter the bottom left quadrant door because of the second quit strat, and in turn I would just heal while I'm there anyway, so that's why I did not bother healing. Getting all 3 of those killed in one down smash never happens. I can avoid hitting those flows, and but you still make the exact same cycle, so it doesn't really matter. So I did a pretty good job not really getting damaged. I went to the left side of Gallium, hoping that he would do the 4 jump move first so that he would stay in one spot. Really good power shield. And then I gravitated towards the Firecracker, because we all know what Firecracker does. Pretty sure I DI'd down and I was able to get a tech off of it, so I didn't have any chance of dying there. And getting damage here doesn't matter, because we go in this door to activate the quit strat, because once we enter these doors, you'll be able to enter that quadrant of the maze on the map selection screen. And we do the second quit strat here. So healing there is like worth it. So here's the little reroute that was done in 2018. Rather than going down and doing Charizard or doing Zelda Peach quit out, or not, my fault. Doing Zelda Charizard Peach quit out Wario, instead we do Charizard Zelda Peach quit out Wario, because that actually added a little bit of extra backtracking. And so changing the way we do these 3 characters saves 15 seconds. It was surprising when we first figured it out. So yeah, like in the Ruin Zoo, or the ruins, I make a little cycle at the beginning of this room with Meta Knight to avoid losing time. And then another very annoying character that went perfect. That rarely happens. Being able to get Zelda dash attack up B, because normally she would jump after dropping down. Little sloppiness here. Alright, and obviously you could tell how much backtracking there was. So right after Peach, we do a quit. And then I had very awkward Peach RNG. I don't know why, but I did quite a lot of fair kills here rather than up B. I guess I just didn't want to lose this pace, because this was ridiculous pace. Because at times I would go for the risky up B, but I guess I just didn't because, I mean, I didn't think I would be on this kind of a pace again for a while. So now we go in the bottom left quadrant with Meta Knight and finish out the run. So I kind of brought this run back, or the maze at least. RNG still not that great. Execution became a lot better though. So now, surprisingly enough, another annoying character. There's like a third of this maze is annoying characters. I see a bumper, I get it. Bumper's really good. I fucked it up, so I have to kill him the old-fashioned way. I do go for the reverse up B's kills intentionally. Because sometimes the positioning where they are is very awkward to get a normal kill towards the direction that you want, so I would go for reverse up B's to kill some of these characters. But yeah, like this was a very bad seed. I've done enough. I've done more maze than anyone probably in the world. So a lot of this RNG is just very bad and just bad patterns. Like these enemies, before you actually hit them, they have set patterns, and I mean I'm not one to care enough to study them, but there's plenty of good, plenty of bad. And so far, this entire maze has been pretty bad at RNG wise. Yeah. Messed up that up B. I did it a bit early. That was actually doing that climb to Rayquaza in my 154.39 was where I started to break down a little bit. And I kind of just lost 153 pace in that run. That's when I really started to break down, because I was attached to that run. At this point I wasn't, I was just focused. I'm pretty sure by the time I was at Fox, I kind of just stopped looking at my splits and focus on the game. So right there, we want to go back to the bottom left quadrant, because that's where the route is. So we take the heal teleport rather than the platform teleport, because the platform teleport takes longer to load for some reason. Almost an unfortunate. Yeah, if I didn't go that ledge, that would have been an unfortunate trip. But yeah, the platform teleport loses like 2-3 seconds. It's a longer load for whatever reason. And then the heal teleport saves time and heals you as well, which is great. And then this is one of the harder parts of the maze. Doing this climb on the cycles that we're given with. I jumped there because I thought I was going to get iced. Normally this part doesn't go that well. And then another case of a roll up air strat. Really good Lucario. And then here's a very risky fair kill character. where I want to try my best to separate Mana and Popo here with the fair. So, and like Popo, did a very early up B, which literally nearly screwed up my up B kill. Like, doing fair strats are very risky, just because of how unpredictable they can be. So I was very lucky to get the tip of that up B kill. So then I got a good Ike kill. Ike was very bad in my PB because on PAL, Ike is just like jumpy and awful for some reason. So I don't know. Bad seed made Ike good, I guess. So now we're coming up on the last two enemies. Or characters. I keep calling it enemies. Normally, if I don't get damage and miss the tech, I would enter the door because it puts that spike those spikes up when I exit out of the door. But because I'm pretty sure I think I missed the tech, I went to the button instead, which you have to wait like 2 seconds to press. So right here, there's a few cases where I could have done Invis Cape, but I'm one who's not great at it, so I don't bother with it. But yeah. Now we got Marth, who is very awkward. He's not hard, he's just, his movement's awkward. So, still got a good amount of time save. My PB here had a bunch of late game time save. It was very bad, very bad ending to a record. I wasn't attached to it, but to this 154.23, but I was I guess overconfident because I'm pretty sure I said this is guaranteed 120 or 153 a couple of times, I think, and then all that time loss happened. So there's that, and now we enter the infamous final boss, Taboo. If someone can find Maze Skip, please contact me, so that we can just get to Taboo and beat the game and not have to worry about everything else. Choose Charizard first because, Rock Smash. Mennonite as a good backup in case you jive with Charizard because it happens more often than you think. So, not getting the greatest spawns, but RNG pretty good. Right here, I thought I finished because he barely had any health left. And then there's that. Split a bit late, 152-31. The RNG was good, but the locations weren't all that great. If he did his slat move, that would have literally saved me seconds. And 152 in-game time. And we're finally landing, summoning Salt playing, because funny meme, no one will ever make a history of Subspace Emissary. But I like that as my end meme. And I turn on my mic to talk. Can I really quickly, hold on, I want to put, there we go, I want the Giratina face like that. So yeah, this time achieved December 22nd, 2020 at 2 in the morning. That is why the mic was off the whole time. I literally just got on and just started doing runs and instantly just got a record. And even after all of that, this was a low 28 maze, which was 16 seconds off of the record because I basically, when I was making my 152 pace splits, I put the maze the same as record at 27:56. And this had a bad maze seed, and I was able to kind of execute pretty well in the second half. The first half was not really that good. So if the first half was better, it would have been probably a 27-3x. It would have been a mid 27 maze record by 20 seconds or something. And a 151 obviously, but Yeah, the time losses, the major time losses, mid-game, and early maze slash first half of maze, which is around a minute 45 to 2 minutes of time loss. So 150 technically possible. I mean, 149 is technically possible with a just outrageous run, but no, I'm never gonna get that if I were to keep running this. So yeah, I want to do a commentated run or a commentated version of this run because some people, I guess, like commentary over watching a run. And sadly, this was achieved at a time where I don't normally put on my mic if I were to do runs. But yeah, this is quite likely the last PB slash, any percent attempts that I go for at the moment, because I wanted to get a 153, and I achieved better than that. I got a 152, which was like my end goal, but it wasn't my immediate goal. My immediate goal was to get a 153, take a break, come back later for 152, but I ended up just playing really good for most of the run, and got a mid 152 with 2 minutes of like total time loss, I'd say. So 150 is realistic, 149 is realistic, but just not gonna happen for a while. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with his time. Second place is around 6.5 minutes slower. I feel pretty comfortable where I stand, so I have no plans on actually doing any percent attempts anytime soon. This is kind of it until another big skip is found, like a 30-second to a minute skip is found. I kind of have no reason to play anymore until like a Brawl zoomer in like 2025 comes by and is able to get like a 154. Then I'll come back. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with how this run went, besides a few things, but obviously no run's perfect. So eventually I can see myself trying for a 151, 150 with like a new skip or like better optimization in some places. I heavily optimized a lot of levels when I was doing my individual level grind in 2019. And then in 2020 is when I really focused on doing Subspace again. And before this, I was running this game again consistently for a year and a half. And then I went on to do 100% slash NG+. I did 100% before this, and then I started to do NG+ again after this. And a month later, as I'm recording this, it's almost February. I'm kind of stopped playing Subspace seriously. So until a new skip is found, I have no reason to really come back and play this. I literally played this for a year and a half consistently since Shadow wanted to race me back in mid-2019, and I'm comfortable with this time. And I hope there will be new people who want to run this at some point in time, because it's a very entertaining, easy run, in my opinion. Easy run, skips are very easy to learn. Very easy to get a top time. It's just not many people have really dedicated their time to, running a 2.5 hour game to really reach the top, but it's not that hard in my opinion. But yeah. So I don't know if this is going to be the longest break that I'm going to have for Subspace this time, which to beat that would be a year and a half, so I would have to come back in like mid-2022, but I have no reason to do any percent anymore. And then I got my short-term goal time for 100%, and then I'm kind of tired of NG+, because I can't do NG+ for too long. So that's pretty much it. This is where the record stands, and probably will stand for a while. I can't see anyone coming and getting sub 2 super quickly, but I don't know. I really don't think it's that hard to get around a sub 2 if someone were to join and do runs right now. Very execution based run, RNG like all throughout the run, but a lot of it is like based on execution. Maze being a heavy example for this being very close to the record for Maze and having bad RNG, but yep. Does it? I think I'm going to plan on doing a very much deeper dive into this run, which would be an analysis. Like, I wanted to do one since my 155.36, but I just didn't know how I would set it up. But after some thinking, I just said, fuck it, I'll just do a one take, and it would be like probably 8 hours long. I would be going into everything, like, seriously in depth, like every fight in depth, like why I do this, blah blah blah, very in depth. And it would probably be 8 hours, and I don't know if like 10 people would watch it, but I don't know. I like talking about this game, and I really hope people can see how good of a run Subspace is, for how criminally underrated and underran it is. But yeah, I'll see about that analysis at some point. If it is, it should be at the top right where the eye information thing pop up on YouTube is. So go watch it if it's up, I guess. It's gonna be super long, but what I'll do is I'll have time frames of like the levels, that it makes it easier in case someone wants to see how I do something, or why I do something specific, why I do a strat this way, blah blah blah. Well, that's pretty much it. 152.31. I'll come back whenever someone finds a skip. Someone please find May skip.